this Tuesday, tests show students across the board saw learning loss due to the pandemic, but English language learners were particularly impacted. We're getting answers from Springfield and Holyoke school districts on the efforts to bring those students up to speed. Our Mary Wilson has the full story.
Students from diverse backgrounds find common ground in a school district where 40 different languages are spoken.
waxaan ku hadlaa luqadda Soomaaliga.
أنا أتحدث العربية. Yo hablo español.
These are the voices of Springfield Public Schools multilingual learners who make up 30% of the district.
When school shut down, it was a travesty for our English learners.
Virtual learning meant linguistic isolation, immigrant students no longer immersed in the English language.
So without that, we saw a massive drop in our testing and our scores when it came to seeing how much English they learned.
In 2021, testing showed only 13% of English language learners in Springfield were making progress towards proficiency. In 2022, that number climbed to 43%. At Herena Community School, Principal Cynthia Escribano tells Western Mass News keeping English language learners in the classroom is key.
We used to pull them out, and our data really wasn't moving the way we wanted it to move. And we completely just changed what we were doing to support our students. And since we did that, our multilingualistic learners have made significant growth.
The language teachers at Herena push into the classroom, providing support and clarification for students instead of pulling kids out of class.
Pass through jungle rivers and sailing over deep, dark seas.
9-year-old Ethan Ortiz moved to Springfield knowing very little English.
I was in Puerto Rico. I had to come over here.
Now, reading is his favorite subject.
Chores would end. I wanted something real.
He just brings so much motivation and engagement in the classroom.
Holyoke Public Schools saw the same concerning dip in learning among their English language learners. In 2021, just 7% of students were making progress. In 2022, that number rose to 24%. As the vast majority speak Spanish, the district offers a dual language program where students are taught all subjects in both languages daily.
Language is part of identity and culture, and honoring the language of the families who we serve is the first thing that we must do.
That's the goal at Springfield Sci-Tech High School, where teachers say test scores don't paint the full picture, as immigrant students often face greater burdens. For Abdi Rahman, who speaks Somali, that includes being apart from family.
Definitely the challenge I faced was living without my mom.
When I get here, I don't know English at all.
I don't speak English. I don't know anything. And I have to talk to people in new school. Everything was difficult.
But ESOL teacher Jenny Schutz says the students are resilient.
The growth that you see in the first year alone is explosive.
While learning English, the multilingual students say it's important to continue honoring their culture, which Abdi says can easily slip away.
My little brother, he was like 5. He came here and now he's forgetting the language, most of them, and he's speaking English.
The more we know about other people, the better we are as people in general.
And the students know that speaking multiple languages will be a benefit to themselves and their community.
No more than one language, in additional to your first language, is so good because you can communicate with other people and help them too.
Mary Wilson, Western Mass News.
If you have a question or something you want us to look into for you, email us at gettinganswers@westernmassnews.com. Just be sure you include your name and phone number as we work to dig deeper.